It is my honor to introduce Mr. Usman Barkat, who will be sharing his insights on artificial intelligence for retail. As the head of operations at ALGO in Pakistan, he is responsible for overseeing the technology, product strategy, roadmap, and life cycle of innovative solutions for the supply chain industry. With over 15 years of experience in merchandising, planning, operations, and systems, Mr. Usman is deeply passionate about digital transformation, technology architecture, and strategic development. His extensive global experience equips him with a unique perspective on how technology can revolutionize industries. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Usman Barkat to the stage as he shares his thoughts on the transformative power of artificial intelligence.
Assalamu alaikum. So I've been tasked with this action कि मैं लोगों को थोड़ा सा जगा दूं before they open that partition and then everybody's in this hall. So we can use that time to do two exercises, right? So Farhan, if you're with me, I would encourage everybody in the room to take their phones out, everyone without any exception. Take a screen, point it to your screen, take a snapshot of that QR code, and try and fill in. Let's see, what is the level of AI awareness in this room. So I want to make it as interactive as possible. And there are two additional screens in the background as well. People can use that to scan the same QR code. That's number one. Dusra, thank you for this generous introduction. I don't know आपने कहाँ से लिया वो introduction मेरा. I have this role at ALGO as Chief Product Officer. I'm responsible for managing supply chain operations through a SaaS platform that we have for a lot of global organizations, throughout the world. We have major presence in North America and in Asia Pacific. And alongside that, what we are trying to achieve is that making sure that we capture a lot of data points in the S&OP space of those businesses and try and connect to execution as well. So not only from demand planning, long range demand planning, but right down to the promotion planning, execution, shelf level action. We try and cover all of that. So first question there is, how confident are you that AI will improve retail customer service within the next year? 5 means you're very confident. This is the 4th conference that I'm on, and every time they give me this topic of future of AI in retail of Pakistan. And courtesy of working with a different company here, subsidiary company here in Pakistan, I still see nobody has made any progress in AI in Pakistan. So just want to understand that context and making it as interactive as possible in terms of where are those bottlenecks? Where are we stuck today? Which of the following retail operations do you believe AI will have the most impact on? So again, very straightforward question. I really want to understand audience because you are a representation of the retail industry vertical of Pakistan. कि कहाँ पे ज़रूरत है? Where can we make an impact through AI? And if that awareness exists today, then we can play a bigger role as an organization and other tech firms which are present in the hall to enable you in terms of, how do we bring that awareness to the organization and how do we enable those organizations through different ways. How much of retail decision making can be automated by AI? Big. If this is the belief that we have within this room, then that means there is something wrong with the tech companies that are providing support here, right? वो awareness, वो ecosystem नहीं provide कर पा रहे हम, so that you guys are enabled with the AI, or misconception है. So I want to break that misconception today in this session. Nothing fancy, nothing technical in nature, but we'll make sure we'll start off by explaining a lot of the basic fundamentals of AI and try and see those use cases in terms of, okay, वो use cases कौन से हैं, how are they classified? So while they're still figuring out how to remove that partition, Let's do another exercise. So show of hands, अगर आप इस पूरे list में से, if you know that how many use cases out of this list you are actually implementing within your organization by AI or machine learning or any such form, or even through statistical optimization of any form. So if there are more than two, if there are more than one, then I want to see a show of hand. एक दफा पढ़ लेते हैं. And if you want any explanation of this, I can spend a minute to explain that as well. तो फिर वो इतनी सारी awareness और passion था, वो कहाँ है? Means वो सिर्फ वो, is it just limited to that we believe that it will change and we have not started that journey? I think then we need to unearth a different problem, which is why we are not starting on this journey. What's so difficult about it? Is it data that is holding us back? Is it people that is holding us back? Is it the knowledge base within the organization? Because awareness, you just shown me, there is a huge awareness within the organization कि AI ने दुनिया बदल देनी है. मगर I don't see a single show of hand where people, anyone, कोई एक use case right now you're attempting in your organization out of this through AI? I see one there. Keep your hand up अगर दो हैं तो. And keep your hand up अगर तीन use cases आप use कर रहे हैं तो. All of them are gone, right? So I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. We talk about AI, it's a fancy word. Since after ChatGPT's inception, everybody wants to be on the bandwagon, everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody is really actually implementing it in their businesses. So that's the biggest problem today. And this list is in no specific order. Absolutely none. So you see scenarios where you have things like basic data sanitation challenges within your organization. I know, with courtesy of working with most of the brands in Pakistan, I know there are challenges, and then there are people deployed, focused on, to minimize them, and there is no way to make sure that those flaws or errors don't creep back in. अगले कॉलम में कोई देखते हैं, we talk about segmentation and clustering. I see that there are still a lot of people doing that because of the complex nature of their businesses, but they still do that manually in a big way. Excel के ऊपर, you just sort them by 2 or 3 parameters that you have, and you feel that you have a cluster at hand. That's not the scenario. So I want to take an approach, and we did this, and this list came out of a big exercise that we did at ALGO, where we wanted to see how many use cases have ALGO deployed over the last 50 customers that we have implemented on. And we came up with a classification of that. So we were using our own medicine to do clustering of this data set that is in front of you. हमने इसकी segmentation करने की कोशिश की. एक axis के ऊपर we have the implementation difficulty from easy and very difficult to implement. And the other axis I have availability of information and data availability within your organization right down to high availability. Do you see anything different now? Do you see a classification where you can feel, okay, something which is easy to implement, and also there might be a possibility there is a high availability of data within my organization to attempt those use cases? So just using a quick analysis, AI analysis, we did some clustering and segmentation, and now you see a quadrant where there is a highly likelihood of a lot of people who are based here that we can use AI to do our product launches. Why? Because we have some form of data available. We have launched products in the past. If there is not a similar product, we can always use like mapping to adopt towards similar curve from the data set that we have. So all of this is just to give you some clarity that how many use cases exist today within retail ecosystem जो हम really में impact कर सकते हैं. So, things like inventory allocation. That is, I think we will talk about more inventory allocation or replenishment. But in scenario, what we want to do is, we really want to, how do I use it? Okay, right, thank you. So we have these, we talked about inventory allocation. Simple function, AI function, You have certain parameters across your organization. There is shelf space available. There are assortment behaviors available from your previous databases. You should be able to automate it completely. And there's a lot of data available um, from the past instances for you to make that work. So there are few that we have identified here, जो कि बहुत आसान हैं to really implement, but at the same time, there is significant amount of data set available within your organizations to work on. But then there are more as well. So if I talk about high availability of data and difficult to implement, if you really want to optimize the way you replenish to your stores, what kind of parameter do I need to look at? Frequency, economic order quantity, transportation cost, my forecast accuracy to the grain, where उस दुकान के ऊपर क्या बिक रहा है, किस टाइम के ऊपर बिक रहा है, and उसकी forecast accuracy high होनी चाहिए, of course, if you want to automate it and so on and so forth. So it becomes really difficult. The maths is really simple, but because we are in a business where forecast is really, really volatile, you're unable to make that work. And there are a few more where we feel that they're difficult to implement. But I really want to classify it further for you in terms of how do we further segregate them into 4 different use cases by functions. For example, there are 4 types of AIs that you see in those lists. कुछ cases हम देख रहे थे वहाँ पे, which are primarily content generation, where AI is asked or tasked with generating content. Then we have insights generation, जहाँ पे आप generative BI के through actionable insights generate करवा सकते हैं, given अगर आपने right memory neural network set कर दिया है अपने database के अंदर. Then you have optimization, so you can give a function, objective function to maximize my profitability by changing my allocation because there is a constrained allocation I have to make. Mera on time in full is less than 50%. I want to maximize it. Make sure that goes to those stores which have a higher gross profit yield to it. And then there is interaction. How do we interact? Asynchronous interaction with your team members and making sure that a lot of those are captured by the system, because every time you interact with the system, you are able to create a memory. You should be creating a memory for the system to go back to in future. So if there are 4 types of this, I want to go back to that slide and color code it to show you which one of those are now, because I believe the content generation one should be the simpler ones. Insight generations one should be the simpler ones. Optimization, ठीक है, समझ आती है. It's difficult to attempt because of so many additional variables, heuristics that you have to find out. But even within that, there are use cases, especially with reference to this purple color and pink color, that I should be able to work on, in the short term, especially, or at least take certain actions to start working on those use cases as we talk. So I'm going to take a pause here on this slide and encourage you to make it interactive and ask that, do we really understand what these terms are? So maybe 2 or 3 questions in terms of which one do you feel is the one जिसमें थोड़ी vagueness है and you want to have a double click in terms of that how do we attempt it through AI. Anybody? Mustafa?
What should be the first step for a retail company
To start on AI.
to gain the courage to enter the domain?
Means maybe understand these use cases and say, okay, where is the highest availability of data with me? What are the lowest, highest yield and lowest at risk to attempt maybe? Things that will not, fail on you. For example, if I want to start off with, I will start off with something softer, customer segmentation maybe, and see, okay, what do I get? What kind of additional insights can I get out of my customer segmentation? You use an AI model, you do your segmentation, and then based on that, you are able to now classify your revenue into maybe 8 segments. People who are your champions, people who you don't want to leave, people who used to come more to your stores, but now their return rate is declining as may. So, अगर आपके पास ये data set exist करता है, what's harm in attempting a use case like this? Because you're not compromising your replenishment or allocation or any other major function that directly impacts your revenue. The only best side out of this is you attempt a use case that is able to add to your revenue or put additional color or do some bottom-up validation to your top-down plan, right? So a lot of these use cases they primarily will only add to the ROI of the investment that you're doing in AI. So if I talk about, let's say, for example, creating a collaborative workspace between your stores and your back office to make sure that they are able to maybe send out a quarterly regional forecast of what they think should be the sales by price point of a certain product line.